As a chef, I've built my career around food. In the daytime, I serve my guests, and in the evenings when I return home, food is still the central part of my life. My favorite spot in my home is my dining table, where friends gather, family gathers, memories are made, and warmth is shared. And yet, as a chef, I'm also alarmed at just how many people in our world are hungry. 795 million people, 795 million people in our world are chronically hungry. That is 1 out of every 9 of us globally. 1 out of every 5 children will suffer from permanent mental or physical disability because of a lack of food. Hunger kills more people than AIDS, malaria, and TB combined. These are staggering facts. And yet, counterintuitively, the people that produce our food are the ones that are most at risk when it comes to hunger: the small shareholder farmer and the women of our world. There are 30,000 edible plants in the world, out of which we as the human race only consume predominantly 4 of those plants. 4 of those plants make up almost 60% of our calorie consumption. Let me tell you why this is important. Last year, I visited Peru with a few of my fellow chefs with the humanitarian organization CARE. When I was in Peru, I met Soto. Soto is a potato farmer, a proud man, a man who lives by what the earth gives him. There are about 4,000 varieties of potatoes that grow in our world, 3,600 of which grow in the mountains where Soto farms. I saw potatoes like I've never seen before. Bright red potatoes. There were potatoes that looked and tasted like an egg yolk, hues of purple, bright blues, and they were absolutely delicious potatoes. And yet when I was speaking to Soto, he told me that when he took these potatoes to market, nobody wanted to buy them because everybody wanted the white potato. The organization called CARE intervened, and they formed a consortium with farmers like Soto. And through that consortium, they taught the farmers better farm practices, gave them access to better seeds, and also gave them resources to be able to build relationships with markets in Lima, Peru, so that they could sell these potatoes. Soto was the leader of this consortium. He decided one day to take these gorgeous potatoes, put them in a basket, and send them to a chef in Lima by the name of Chef Gaston. Chef Gaston is a celebrity chef, and he has put Peruvian cuisine on the global map. Needless to say, he was blown away by these potatoes. These potatoes were the pride of his land. They were indigenous ingredients to Peru. He decided to go visit the farmers up in the mountains to see if he could have a steady source, a steady supply of these potatoes. When he realized that he could have a steady supply of these potatoes, he decided to start showcasing them in his fine dining restaurants in Lima. Today, because of what that farmer and that chef did together, the Peruvian potato has found its way into everyday Peruvian households, which has allowed Soto and farmers like Soto to make a sustainable livelihood and keep hunger a distance away from the ones that they care for. This is how important it is for us to eat heritage produce. 2 billion people, that's right, 2 billion people in our world are micronutrient deficient. Things that you and I take for granted. iron, protein, fiber, vitamins in our everyday diet lacks in the lives of these 2 billion people. 160 million children suffer from stunting. Stunting is not just when a child cannot reach his or her proper height potential. It also affects their mental capacity and their mental growth, which means that they don't have the same access leading into adulthood that they could otherwise have had. And this is a direct correlation to malnutrition. Years ago, I went to India and I met a little boy, a 3-year-old little boy. And the first time I met him, that image of meeting him for the first time is embedded in my memory forever. He was frail, weak, completely malnourished. Recently, when I went to Peru, I visited a village in the mountains of Ayacucho, where the malnutrition rates among the children were upwards of 80%. 80%. And the reason for the malnutrition in this particular region was a lack of a protein source. A humanitarian organization intervened and gave out $100 microloans, just $100 microloans to women in that region to raise guinea pigs, which to you and I is a pet here in the US, is actually a tremendous source of protein. And these women, and absolutely delicious, might I add, and these women were able to take this $100 and not only provide a steady source of protein for the ones that they cared for, but they were able to make these into viable business models. They were able to make a sustainable livelihood. The malnutrition rate in that region dropped from 80% to 25% with this one singular intervention in a span of only 3 years. In Mozambique, where women farmers grow cassava, a humanitarian organization intervened and once again gave out microloans. Taught them better farming practices, gave them access to better seeds, and with these minimal microloans, they were able to increase their tapioca production, cassava production, by 400% in a span of just 3 growing cycles. Just 3 growing cycles. In Kabul, Afghanistan, where women hardly have access to be able to work outside of their homes, microloans given allowed these women to buy livestock like cows and chickens and goats that produced enough milk and cheese to not only have a steady supply of protein for their families, but to make it viable business models where they could sell this product into market. Whether in Peru, Mozambique, or Kabul, Afghanistan, what we have learned is that with a little bit of help, women can keep hunger a long distance away from the ones that they care for. Let me tell you why this issue is so personal to me. I'd like to end on that personal note. You know that little boy that I told you I met in India years ago? That is my son, Ethan. I adopted my son, Ethan, from an orphanage in India when he was just 3 years of age. Completely malnourished, 16 pounds at 3 years of age. Distended belly, weak, frail. My son was the image of hunger. Today, my son is a thriving 10-year-old who lives and loves life to its fullest. It took me years to nurture not just his body, but his mind and his spirit to where he is today. But in my son, in him, I see every hungry child, every hungry woman, every hungry man. And because of him, I am urging all of us to build an awareness, to create a collective consciousness, a mindset that will eradicate hunger in our lifetime. What you and I do matters. It matters when we know where the source of our food comes from. It matters when we eat heritage produce. It matters when we call upon our policymakers, the people that you and I voted for and put in office, to think big to combat global hunger. The US government to date does not have a comprehensive strategy to combat global hunger. Right now, there is a bill in Congress, it's called the Global Food Security Act, that demands for this strategy, that has specific verbiage in there that calls for the empowerment of small shareholder farmers and women. Combating hunger is not just about handing out food. It is about allowing people to be able to make a sustainable living, and thus breaking that cycle of poverty so that the next generation does not have to deal with hunger. I am so proud of my fellow chefs today, chefs in the food world that have taken on this cause of becoming advocates, of becoming voices, of walking in and out of congressional offices, of bringing awareness to issues that revolve around food insecurity. I hope that you and I together make a difference, because we can. Being aware of the problem is the first step toward it. Thank you so much.